You don't have a job, and you only finished middle school. I'm done talking to you. I'm not going to let an old woman live off me, no way. Pack up your things and leave. You should be grateful, I've been married to you for so long. So, are you saying you want a divorce? Then he stormed out, shouting in a high voice. Don't expect me to come back, you know exactly what I mean. Do I need to spell it out for you? You're just too dumb to understand. Are you planning to divorce me and marry my sister? They stared at each other in shock. My name is Eleanor, I live with my husband, James. I'm in my late 50s, and he's 5 years younger than me. I also have a younger sister. She and my husband went to college together, that's how I met him. We have 2 children, both grown up now with their own families. At my age, I often look back at my life. A lot has happened over the years. I'm happy I had 2 children. But with my husband? I can't say I'm happy at all. He always makes fun of me because I only finished middle school, even though he has no job himself. Whenever we argue, he says things like, "You don't even know that? That's why you never finished high school." And yes, it's true, I only completed junior high. I wanted to go to high school, I actually liked studying. But my family was poor, and back then, we didn't have the internet or many opportunities. So, I did what my parents wanted, I left school and started working. But my sister, who is 5 years younger, went to college. Why? Because I worked hard to pay for her education. It wasn't easy, but I didn't want her to struggle like I did, so, I kept working, pushing through tough times. Luckily, she was smart and got into a top university. And that's where she met my husband, he was her classmate. He's always been proud of that. Whenever we argue, he uses his education against me. But when we first met, he wasn't like this. When we got married and had our first daughter, I felt truly happy. But over time, that happiness faded. Back then, it was common for women to quit their jobs after marriage. I wanted to stay home and take care of our child. But my husband refused. He wanted me to keep working, manage the house, and raise our child, all on my own. When our son was born, he quit his job. I thought maybe then he'd finally let me be a stay-at-home mom. But no. He did nothing, he didn't help with the house or the kids. And since he wasn't working, I was the only one making money. I worried about how we'd survive. 6 months after he quit, I asked him, "Hey, don't you think it's time to get a job? Who do you think you're talking to?" "You, there's no one else here. It's been 6 months, are you planning to stay unemployed forever? You think you can tell me what to do? Not this again. Unlike you, I graduated from an elite university, I'm better than you. Good for you, so, what's your plan? If I want a job, I'll get one, and I'll choose exactly what I want to do. Then pick one already." "I can't, there's nothing I want to do." He might have a fancy degree. He might be smart in school. But when it comes to real life, he has no idea how to support himself. Without a job, his elite education means nothing. At least do something for the family. What kind of fool are you? Why should I do that? That's ridiculous. You're the one who gave birth to the kids, you should be grateful. The only reason I stayed with this man for so many years without divorcing him was because of our situation. In my generation, getting a divorce meant people would talk behind your back. And it wasn't just the mother who faced judgment, our kids would have to deal with rumors too. I didn't want them to go through that. But now, both of my children are grown. Maybe it's finally time to leave him. I'm close to retirement, and honestly, the idea of divorcing him makes my future seem so much brighter. For a while now, I've been studying to get my high school equivalency diploma. Now that the kids are grown, I finally have time for myself. And I did it, I passed the exam. Of course, I haven't told my husband, I know he'd just make fun of me. The other day, I got my acceptance letter. That same day, my sister called me. "Hey, how are you? I'm coming over now, you're home, right?" "What? Why? I'm already on my way." "Wait, what?" She hung up. 10 minutes later, she showed up at my door. "What's going on? How's your husband?" "We got divorced." "What? When?" Let me think, about 6 months ago. I had no idea. I didn't tell you. By the way, do you have a spare room?" "No, we don't." "Yes, you do, the kids are grown up now." "Yeah, but I kept their rooms the same for when they visit." "Okay, then the guest room is empty." "Well, yeah. Great, I'll just stay there." "Wait, you can't just decide that out of nowhere. It's not sudden, James already said I could." "That's right, my husband said as he walked in from the convenience store. I told her she could stay if she needed help." "Why did you decide that without asking me?" "Come on, Eleanor, your sister needs help, isn't that what family does?" That's why people like you, who only finished middle school, are clueless, he added. Exactly, my sister chimed in, agreeing with him. I've always known Susan was like this, but I can't take it anymore. I did so much for her, she's my sister, after all, but I can't help feeling bitter. After she moved in, my opinion didn't matter anymore. I ended up living with both Susan and James, and I was the only one working. Susan and James did nothing all day. If you're going to stay here, at least help out, I told them. And why isn't James working or paying for anything? Susan just scoffed. Oh, Jen, life must have been hard for you after middle school. You're so obsessed with money. I was shocked. After a while, Susan and James started going out together. What bothered me the most was how they acted around each other. They didn't even seem to realize it, but they behaved more like a couple than siblings-in-law. I needed to find out the truth. I wouldn't be surprised if they were having an affair. They had no sense of right or wrong. I hired a private investigator, and a week later, I got my answer. Just as I suspected, they were cheating. When I told my children, they supported my decision to get a divorce. Now, I had no regrets. I just had to wait for the perfect moment. While waiting, I started studying law. It all began when I was working as a janitor at a law office. One day, an employee told me he had passed the bar exam at 69 years old. I was amazed. If someone in their 70s could set a new goal and achieve it, why couldn't I? That's when I decided to challenge myself, too. Then, the day of my retirement arrived. When I got home, James and Susan were smirking at me. I need to talk to you, James said. What is it? I asked. You retired today, right? That means you have no job. How are you going to survive? You have no career and only finished middle school. How pathetic. I'm done with you, he sneered. I'm not going to let some old woman leech off me. Pack your things and get out. I've been married to you for a long time, so you should be grateful, he added. So, you want a divorce? I asked calmly. He laughed in a high-pitched voice. Don't ask me to come back, you know what I mean. Should I spell it out? You're too stupid to understand, he mocked. Are you divorcing me so you can marry Susan? I asked. They looked at each other in shock, then burst out laughing. Oh, so you knew? Well then, let's make it quick. I don't need you anymore, but if you really don't want to leave, maybe I'll let you stay, if you get down on your knees and beg, he said cruelly. That won't be necessary, I replied. I had planned to divorce him after I retired, so this actually worked in my favor. I pulled out the divorce papers from my bag. Their laughter stopped, their faces froze. Please sign this quickly, I'm leaving, I said. James stammered. How did you have the papers ready? Because I was planning to get a divorce, I decided this was the right time. I went to change my clothes, ready to walk away from this life for good. Hurry up, James, let's go, Susan urged. Jen is leaving anyway, so isn't this great? James signed the papers without hesitation. I checked his signature, but he must not have liked my attitude because he started cursing at me. You're just a middle school graduate, you're going to die poor, he spat. Oh, I don't know about that, I smirked. Now, both of you, listen up, I said. That was the cue for my children to enter the room. Hold this, so he doesn't tear it up, I told them. Got it, my son replied, gripping the divorce papers. You two are disgusting, you're the worst father ever, my daughter said coldly. You brag so much about your elite university degree, my son added, but it hasn't done anything for your life. You think you're so smart, but you've been unemployed your whole life. That's actually pathetic, don't you think? What? James was speechless. For once, my daughter got the last word. You're just a useless, unemployed old man, my daughter said. All right, that's enough, I chuckled. You two are being too honest. Then, I turned to James. I have proof of your affair, you'll have to pay alimony. With that, we walked out of the house. James and Susan had no money. They should have paid me $1 million, but they had no jobs and no savings. I heard they borrowed money from a dangerous lender, someone who takes advantage of desperate people with no income. Meanwhile, I filed for divorce and finally became free. Now, I could focus on my studies. I worked part-time as a cleaner while studying hard. Eventually, I got accepted into the law school of my choice. After 4 years, I graduated and passed the bar exam. I finally became a lawyer, just like I had always dreamed. To celebrate, my children and their families threw me a small party. Life was wonderful. But then, I heard rumors. James and Susan were looking for me. How did I find out? One day, my ex-husband showed up at my new house. Please help me, he begged. Susan doesn't work at all, we have no money. I even went to the kids, but they refused to see me. Of course, You idiot, I scoffed. What do you mean? He stammered. You always acted like you were better than me, but all you ever had was a college degree. You've done nothing with your life. That's not true. You're just trying to make me feel bad. Oh, really? I smirked. You always called me a middle school dropout, but guess what? I just passed the bar exam. What? He looked shocked. I usually wouldn't brag, but seeing him now, begging for help from the same person he always insulted, was funny. Wait, how do you live in such a nice house? He asked. Because I have a job, I replied. You work? Yeah, I do. I thought you were just a cleaner, he said, confused. I am, I said with a smile. I clean my own desk. Your desk? What are you talking about? I left the door chain on and opened the door slightly. Here, I said, showing him my lawyer's badge. He froze. You see, if you don't give up, you can change your life at any age, but if you keep bothering me, I'll see you in court. Then, I shut the door in his face. After that, James never came near me again. Susan tried once, but I told her the same thing. She never showed up again either. They had relied only on their education but never put in any real effort, so their lives kept falling apart. But I worked hard, and it changed everything. Jen's story teaches us that anything is possible if you never give up. It's wonderful that her children fully support her. I hope she continues to live a happy, fulfilling life. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.